Oh guys, welcome back. This is going to be an interesting video. This is going to be an update on now we are just about a year with Godzilla and his new enclosure that I made for him. Going over some things that I've noticed I've liked, disliked, and wish I did differently, and we'll go from there. Um, Biggest thing, the pro though, is I have to say I do like the bigger enclosure. All the stuff that I always see is they're always longer. And if you have a place like mine, you don't have exactly a lot of, like, I have a long wall here, but it's to my bathroom. Can't exactly block that off with something that sticks out too far. So I just don't really have anywhere else in my house, in my part of the house, because I live with my family. So this is my living room, bedroom, tiny apartment area that I could put it. So this is the spot for it, other than the previous home which was in front of the swords. So it is, I like it like this because it fits in my space. I made it that way, and Godzilla really likes going up and down, up and down, up and down. And just so you know how mean and evil he can be, we have 3 dogs. There's one of them, Ahsoka. But we have 2 little dogs. One's a Yorkie Terrier, Pomeranian, Chihuahua mix, and the other one's a Poodle and Bichon mix. But he'll come work all his way down, sit here, and he'll just beat on the glass, especially when they're here. And they'll go crazy and bark because they're, right here. So I do like it because he gets the height, he gets the different climate zones from heat, hot up here, medium, cool. He has all his different spots. He likes tormenting the dogs when he can. He really likes sitting on here, beating the glass, trying to get attention with either his face or his claws, and go from there. But, yes, you're okay. You're okay. Sorry, we were just outside, so she's a bit needy. Okay, lay down. Here, hold on. Alright, just gave her some cookies, so she should be okay. So, let's start off with one of the big con things that I wish I would have done differently. So I made this with the way of how it is right now, because I open it up to get quick access to things up here, especially when he makes a mess up in here. His water dish he likes up here, and his food dish he likes right up there. But I made this so you can do it like that quickly, but then to get the plexiglass out, you have to lift it up out of the way. Normally, that wasn't a problem. Well, earlier this year, I had a little accident, fell, and tore part of the muscle in my rotator cuff. Well, that means I can't lift. So taking this big giant panel and lifting it, where's my tape measure? Tape measure, here we go. So, if we take it, I made this 3 feet tall. So that's 36 inches by, I think this is like another, so 27 and a half, 28 inches. So that's a big piece of plexiglass. It's not that it's heavy, but when you're trying to do it one-armed, it's impossible to do. So I wish instead of just making it where it solely came out the top, instead of nailing these in these little 1/2-inch trim strips that I got right in there, I wish I just put hinges on these on both sides. So that way I can hinge this out, so then that way this plexiglass door, instead of going up, can come lift it up that little 1/2 inch down there and then come out. Much easier access. I think at some point I'm going to do that, just haven't had the time, because in order to do it I gotta take that all apart. So I gotta rip all these nails out, and in order to do it, because you see I put these in first and the bottom in, is how I made it. So I have to get all new pieces for both the side, the bottom, and do all that, plus the hardware, and I need to keep it all in place. So this one will become a full straight bottom piece. Yes, Ahsoka, hi. And then these will come up and stop to here. And I still need to leave that little gap so that way it slides in there. See who's all needy. So It's not as quick as, oh, okay, let me just take the nails out and put the hinges on, because I gotta make sure it stays in place. And I gotta do it the right way, or else it may fall out when I don't want it to. So not only do I need hinges to put it in place, I gotta have a little lock system, so then that way it keeps these hinges closed, so then that way it stays in place. Either that, or on the top of this door here, I add in a piece that goes here all the way down in like a little trim, so that way it hooks the door, so then that way it stays down. But I still think I'm going to want things to lock this in on the sides, because as I said, he likes to bang on the glass and torment the dogs, or just to bang on it because he could. So, you know, because he's a pain, if he knocks it out just enough and squeezes his way through one way, he can get stuck, and then that's a bad day for everybody. So, you know, it's a process of doing it the right way to get this all to stay in place. And that's a whole job. And I'll probably have to do it and take him out of that, and then make sure that he and the 3 dogs don't get into anything, because the dogs think he's a chew toy. So that's big con number 1 that I found. Con number 2, that's kind of on the big side, noticing how he is now. Now, I made it like this because I noticed in his little starter tank, he liked going up and down, up and down, up and down. And that was great. So I made all these different levels and things, but down here, I made, this little shelf right here that has a little ramp there to then get up onto there. Well, he never used that, especially for the first 7 months. He always just climbed over with, I had the cork bark over here with wood, climbed up over there, and then got onto there, and that was how he did it. He avoided this area all completely. So I wish I just didn't make that. And that, again, with the way I put it in, it's, you know, I have to take panels, screws out the back, screws out the side, and with the way I made it, the panel that comes down on the side here, I screwed it into the side of the board here. So this board that's there on the inside, I screwed it into the side there. Well, I covered it up with all these panels, boards that I got. So the screws are buried behind those boards, so I have to take those out to do all that, and that's just more work. I mean, I could probably just flush cut it, but that's not a priority. That's something I wish, you know, I would have done. So if I didn't have that all there, what I have over here, I could just stick over here, and he would love that. He would just climb up, because he likes climbing up on this. And then he'd just climb up on there, then have his little hammock there, climb up, and then I'd have more floor space. Yes, I see you. This is Ahsoka, the attention whore dog. She thinks everything is about her. Even though we're not talking about her now, we're talking about Godzilla, King of the Beardies. No copyright intended there, just having fun. But then I would have more floor space down here for him for things that he may like. He does like his little plaque in the middle here. What I have noticed, he doesn't go over here as much. He likes staying over here because it has more of the shade, whereas this has more of the sunlight. So maybe instead of having it come all the way out over here, maybe stop it halfway. But that's just a nitpicky thing. What I wish I did on the back side of the tank here. So if I climb up, so with the way the measurements and the panels and everything worked, there was a gap here in the middle. And instead of ripping down a board to make it fit into there, I just put this on the inside. And when I did that, I didn't take into account when I was making everything and cleaning or whatnot, that just, it's realistically, it's in the way. And it's a pain. You can see kind of right there, that's the gap on the back side. And that's right where that board covers up. And I just thought if I had that there, then I have an anchor point and yada yada yada, and it hasn't been used as I thought it would be. I think the only real anchor point that it's doing is for this. And even then, I have wood in the corner there that supports it. So it's not really holding it, it's just more aesthetics. You know, then we come over into here, this part here. You know, I made this thinking, oh, he would like to lay down right here, hang, do all that. No, he doesn't use it like that at all. So I have a gap there where when he's eating his food, because that's where he likes to eat his food, and when I bring the crickets in the container, I hold it there, and that's where they come jumping out. So it's a place where debris and stuff can fall, as you can see there. Makes a mess. I just wish I made that a full board, or, you know, ripped a smaller board like for there and stuck it in there. You know, hindsight, that's what I wish I would have done. But, you know, this, I like this because it's nice, and it's his nice hot spot. He comes up here every so often. It says it's 93 degrees right now, but when the lid's closed, it can get up to like 105. So it's a nice hot spot during the day because we have the heat spot bulb there. Then we got the new 250 watt bulb that now heats this more evenly, and he likes it better. And we'll go to town on that. The other thing is, you know, I made this board and we have it wrapped up with the hammock so he can climb up and down, because he wasn't climbing up and down that because it was too slick for him. And I just didn't think of that. I mean, this works, but, you know, maybe instead of having that board there, just make it a hammock, or get a wider piece of board to put there. You know, do something like that. Maybe make it more inclined and step, not like a steep incline, but where there's like another platform maybe. You know, there's different things I wish I would have done now that he's been in this for almost a year. Those are some of the things. As you can see, the way I still have to hold this open, I just got two little scrap pieces of this trim wood that I used, and they're just there wedged in the corner to hold this up so I can reach in, open the glass, things like that. You know, well, like I said, it's hindsight, things I wish I did differently. You know, I made this with the aspect of I'd have storage down here too. And it's great, it's storage, it works great. But, you know, I have this small little tub, that's the only thing that fits nicely down there. I wish I would have, you know, taken the extra time and actually put maybe like some panels on the side and back, and then put a door here, so then that way I didn't have to put everything in a box. I just kind of push it in and close the door, and I don't have to worry about the dogs or anybody else getting into it. No, I have to have it in boxes and tubs, and, you know, it just, trying to get to anything, then I have to move all, hold on, sorry, falling on my feet here. You know, I gotta move, if I want to try to change anything, I gotta move this, hold on, your butt's in the way, Ahsoka. I gotta move all this out to get to that tub, and then vice versa. You know, it's not the optimal storage I wish I had. So, you know, this is, you know, life learns pains. Like I said when I first started this, I'm not the know-it-all. I don't know everything. I'm just the average Joe guy who sharing my knowledge, my thoughts, my ups and downs of what it's like having a bearded dragon. He's my first one that I've ever had, so, you know, this is all new. A pro that I do like is I do like that I left this all gray, because it doesn't retain the heat, it doesn't make it super hot in there, and even when I'm in there it's nice and cool. You know, maybe I wish I would have waterproofed this a little bit, just with the mess that he makes, or as you can see here, his claws, when he's banging and irritating the dogs, he's scraping up little pieces at a time. Now that's almost a year, so that's what he's done. Yeah, we're talking about you. We're talking about you. So, and, you know, this lid, you know, not the greatest lid, as you can see. I just went and took staples and stapled a metal screen onto the frame. You know, it works. But whenever I open this up, I got to take and hang the night light heat lamp on the hook here. So then that way when I open it up, it doesn't fall off and break the bulb. These aren't really secured as long as that light bar in the back are not secured. So, you know, thinking of changing this out, but then again, that's, you know, I have to take the measurements of this, work out how I want to do it. What I've thought about doing is making this a whole sheet up here. So taking some wood and gluing them together, making a panel, and then making inlay cuts, so then that way these all sit down in there, then they get clasped in place, and then that way they don't move out when I open it. And then we just cut vent holes for everything then too, because it's not like I'm too worried, because with how everything worked out, as you can see, once it got inside and we had heat more on it, the wood dried some more, and that was all butted up. And Ahsoka, those were all butted up nice and clean and flush to one another, and over time, as they've sat in the house now, they've dried, they've had heat lamps on them, they just started developing gaps, which is okay. It's not like he's going to squeeze through those little gaps as he's staring at us, but they're now, you know, vent holes now. Pretty much they're going down the width of up and down. So and if need be, I can always try to add on a holes for vent holes in different areas too. Like I said, it's okay, we've had it for a year. What's better ways we can optimize it? Like I said, this was a spot on weekend project type things, and you know, it worked. He's happy. I've enjoyed it. He's enjoyed it. It's worked. Do I wish I would have done things differently, as I've talked about? Totally. But you know what? If you're not skilled at anything, this is still something you can do, because all it needs is you need measurements of where you're going to stick it, and you do the best you can, and it works. So yeah, that's what I got to share today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for enjoying the journey with me and Godzilla, and we'll see you next time.